In a Martian city, a mysterious man calling himself Joker hijacks a shipment of nectar, a drug that means need to function. Elsewhere in the city, Rouge serves as an assistant to famous singer Sarah Fitzgerald to determine if the latter is actually a member of the Immortal Nine, whom she is tasked to kill. After a concert, Rouge updates Naomi, who communicates indirectly through a mechanical bird. The two agents are trying to determine if Sarah is one of the 9 individuals with the true name Viola. Later that night, the singer Sarah, who was believed to be human, injects herself with nectar using a concealed port on her body, revealing herself as a Nine. Suddenly, a person in a red mesh suit, known as the Red Gladiator, appears and attempts to attack Sarah. But some security guards arrive and shoot the red mesh suit, which suddenly runs and jumps out of the building. The mechanical bird sees all this, confirming Sarah is indeed Viola of the Immortal Nine. Sadly, the bird was destroyed by Jylan. Following this incident, Sarah informs Jylan, who reveals that the mission to seize the nectar shipment failed because Red Gladiator ruined it. Jylan warns Viola that Red Gladiator is likely the culprit behind the deaths of 2 other of their members. Jylan wonders if anyone unfamiliar approached her recently. Viola remembers picking up Rouge from the alley and having her work for her. So when Viola summons Rouge to meet, the latter already knows the truth. The Red Gladiator suddenly shows up and disposes of Rouge, much to Viola's dismay. This is actually Jylan, as Viola now remembers about his ability to mimic, and also the one who attacked her at the top of the building. Viola was questioned about his motives. Jylan explains that he intended to push Viola to take action against the enemy who was investigating them. Viola comments that Rouge is not the Red Gladiator, so he doesn't need him to kill her. But Jylan thinks Rouge is an agent of Alethea, considering she knew her real name. Suddenly, something red glowed underneath, and the real Red Gladiator pops up, attacking them. The Red Gladiator clashes with Jylan, who does not give her a good fight. Jylan takes his leave, entrusting to Viola that she can kill the Red Gladiator. Before they fight, Viola asks her name. The Red Gladiator says Metallic Rouge. Viola transforms into a Mech Gladiator, primarily in shades of purple, and her real name is Purgatory Viola. The 2 metallic androids then engage in an intense battle. In the midst of the battle, Viola cries out that all she wanted was happiness and the freedom to sing. She questions why she should be treated any differently from a human. Adding to her anger, Viola reveals that 2 of her friends, fellow members of the Immortal Nine, had already fallen victim to Rouge's attacks. Despite Viola's powerful onslaught nearly causing Rouge to melt, she uses her superior agility just in time to leap behind her adversary and extract her heart. This heart or core resembles a glass ball with colorful stripes and a barcode. With Viola eliminated, Rouge and Naomi head off to their next mission. They have successfully eliminated 3 out of the 9 dangerous Nines. Guardianship Bureau investigator Ash and his partner, Noid, travel to Mars to investigate a series of murders that Rouge apparently committed. Meanwhile, Rouge and Naomi board a bus toward the Martian city of Wellstown. Naomi is telling a couple of kids, Miguel and Emily, about the history of some wars on Mars in which some friendly aliens helped humans fight against the hostile aliens. Humans developed the strongest weapon called Nines to help fight, and you can tell them apart as they have scars over their faces. Also, they abide by the Asimov's laws that they cannot hurt or kill humans. Reporter Jill befriends Naomi since the latter proclaims herself as a history geek, and Jill is currently doing research on the history of Nines since they are being discriminated against. Rouge notices armored vehicles hired by Viola's wealthy ex-boyfriend to capture Rouge, and Naomi is uncertain about their intentions, thinking they might be military enthusiasts. The military opens fire on the bus, forcing it to stop. The mercenaries send a virtual message, demanding Rouge. Some passengers consider handing Rouge over, but an elderly woman thinks they'll be in danger either way. Mercenaries board, and like Rouge, Huey, and Jill combat them. During the chaos, the elderly woman takes control of the bus, driving toward a forest to shake off the mercenaries. At the same time, Dr. Afdal tends to Huey's wound. In the forest, the driver worries about fixing the bus. Naomi suggests a nearby military facility with spare parts. The driver hands Naomi an RG-200 cable and asks her to find one at the establishment. Rouge insists on joining, but Naomi instructs her to stay and protect the passengers. Meanwhile, Rouge notices Jill talking to the kids, who took a snapshot of the mercenaries' vehicle. From the photo, Jill identifies the mercenaries as working for Soa Sons of Ares, possibly hired by someone. Later, Naomi and the bus driver return with the tool to find Emily and Rouge missing. Meanwhile, Rouge and Emily explore the forest and come across an archaeologist named Eden, stumbling upon Cylinder Head, the usurper's war machine. Emily gets a closer look at Cylinder Head and accidentally activates it, causing it to awaken and chase them. While they were running, the mercenaries arrived behind them and noticed the Cylinder Head following. They immediately fire, but their attacks prove futile due to an invisible barrier protecting Cylinder Head. The war machine eliminates the mercenaries, destroying every tank. Left with no choice, Rouge transforms into her red gladiator form. Emily and Eden arrive on time in the bus, which is already fixed by the bus driver. The elderly woman starts the bus, attempting to escape. Cylinder Head continues the chase, but Rouge arrives to protect them. Rouge fiercely fights the Cylinder Head with all her power. The Cylinder Head captures her, but she manages to get away and destroy one of the legs. Then she slid down and grabbed the other leg, throwing it to another Cylinder Head who was chasing the bus. In the end, Rouge emerges victorious. Naomi confronts the man who returned to the bus with Emily. Fortunately, the elderly woman and others find Rouge. Rouge boards the bus, eavesdropping on Emily's conversation with her brother. Rouge reveals she has an older brother, empathizing with Emily's pain. She gives Emily a chocolate bar, and Naomi appreciates Rouge's maturity. Now continuing their journey to Weltstown. Arriving in Weltstown, Naomi and Rouge get off the bus, and Rouge waves goodbye to Jill they met along the way. Afterwards, Rouge and Naomi hand over Viola's core to their handler. In return, Naomi received a new mechanical bird, which she calls her outside persona, Bird Number 2. Naomi contacts Ministry of Truth Vice Director Jean, who gives the duo their next mission. Rouge wonders what Jean will say, as she thinks they've completed their mission perfectly, but Naomi says he expects more from them and also to look after Rouge. Their next mission is to find out if an Immortal Nine is hiding and disguising within this Welstown's Neen settlement. They need to infiltrate it to continue investigating. Later, as Naomi is enjoying her delicious crab-like meat, Rouge panicked over the fact that all her chocolate bars are gone. Naomi revealed she gave her chocolates to the kids after they alighted the bus. Rouge gets upset as she wants to go and buy more, and Naomi tells her she can't. That is when Rouge thought she was free because Jill told her so. Naomi shoots her down, saying that she is just a tool for the Ministry of Truth. If she has free will, she is a failure as an agent. Mad Rouge storms off. She even throws the transponder onto the ground, calling Naomi stupid. Then she sees the several guards discriminating against a young Neen named Rion. Rouge does not like the idea that Neens are tools or equipment. She gave the guards a beatdown. That is until Dr. Ifdal shows up and explains to the guards that the boy and Rouge are his assistants. The soldiers let it slide and let them into the reservation since Dr. Ifdal is on call to treat some Neens. Afterwards, Rouge shocked sees how bad the living conditions the Neens have to deal with. The doctor came to treat Dahlia. Even though Ifdal saves Dahlia, it is just a temporary solution, and she will die soon. He notes how humans have been making Neens work to the bone on the harsh conditions of Venus. Soon, Rouge is brought to see Yuval, who heads a movement called the Council of Free Neens, or CFN. Yuval notes they are fighting for autonomy, but humans won't grant it because of the code embedded inside Neens. They just want to live freely. He tells her that Alter is actually a real rebel group of Neens that use forces against humans. But what Yuval wants is not Rouge's firepower, but her free will. Without that code, Rouge can mingle freely with humans, and thus her existence has meaning. This gives them hope, although Rouge doesn't have to give her answer now. Dahlia dies and is soon discarded. As Rouge leaves and thinks of Yuval's words, soon she is told Yuval wants to see her alone. Then she finds his lifeless body. Naomi eventually spotted her using her new bird and was surprised she made it in. However, she was shocked to see Yuval's body. A few Nines nearby promptly arrived on the scene, causing her to be the top suspect. But some suggest keeping this a secret because they know humans will meddle if they find out. In response, the police send a force to occupy the settlement while an unknown aircraft arrives at Wellstown. The airship is carrying a traveling carnival as it lands in the city. Rouge is held by the CFN on suspicion of killing Yuval. Naomi makes contact and tells her the police are here, and it doesn't matter who did it since the police are using this excuse to crush CFN. However, Rouge is planning to stay, and is sure that Phantom Verd will show himself. Naomi says she wants to help Rouge of her free will, saying she isn't a tool of Alethea, and neither is she. In response, Rouge accepts Naomi's assistance. As the CFN interrogates Rouge, the Wellstown security force assaults the building, killing or arresting any CFN members they find. Rouge is interrogated by Dumas, and because she doesn't say much, they suspect her even though they have no proof, even accusing her of working with alters. When the police storm in, Dumas tries to use this to his advantage. Because Rouge breaks out of her chains, he claims she is going to kill them. The Nines gang up on her, but with the police here, Rouge defeats the police and lets them all escape. Then she stumbles into Rion, who has orders to take her back. Meanwhile, Naomi takes advantage of Ash's authority to enter the settlement. He follows her for a while, but decides to leave when the going gets tough. Rouge accuses Rion of being the one who killed Yuval. He denies and claims he doesn't want to see him suffer. Suddenly, Rion stabs her with a serum, making her see visions of the targets she killed. Rouge starts to freak out as she feels guilt about killing Viola and the others. However, she manages to fight and snap out of it. Out of nowhere, Dr. Ifdal appears, and actually, he is the one who killed Javel. Rouge believes he is the informant, but Rion continues to cover him that he isn't the villain. Rion wants to be free with him, but Dr. Ifdal throws him the bad news that is just an illusion before killing him off. Nobody is free, Nines or humans, and he reveals himself to be Phantom Verd. Rouge and Ifdal transform into their gladiator form and fight. Meanwhile, Naomi encounters Dumas. However, Dumas is actually Jylen in disguise, and Noim tries to fight him, but she only has martial arts and guns. Jylen then decides to spare Naomi before withdrawing. As for the fight, Rouge is initially at a disadvantage due to a combination of being drugged by Rion and impaired by the nerve gas Ifdal's body produces. It was a tricky one, as Phantom Verd uses hallucinogenic gas to make it harder for Rouge to find the real Phantom. However, she uses a blast to disperse the gas, allowing her to kill Phantom Verd and retrieve his core. Rouge then falls unconscious as a number of carnival members begin to march on the gates to the Nine settlement. After Rouge took down Phantom Verd, Naomi wondered where Rouge went. Out of nowhere, Eden appears to claim he has seen Rouge and brings Naomi to a nearby touring circus. Captured by the carnival, Rouge has her mind probed by their leader, the Puppet Master, and relives memories of her past with Jean, who instructed her to hunt down the Immortal Nine as revenge for them killing his father and her creator, Roy Junghart. However, she begins having second thoughts since both Viola and Ifdal both showed remorse for their actions. We know that the Puppet Master tries to get into Rouge's mind to learn about Code Eve. When Rouge becomes aware, the puppeteer claims he is saving her from being controlled. The Puppet Master then lets her go, stating that he wants her to find her own freedom. Meanwhile, Naomi teams up with Eden to infiltrate the Carnival's airship before parting ways. She discovers that the Carnival possesses usurper technology and recovers Phantom Verd's core before reuniting with Rouge. However, they are then attacked by Puppet Master's lieutenant, Opera, who demands Verd's core back. Naomi wants to save Rouge this time, but of course, Opera is more powerful and gives Naomi a beating. Thankfully, before she can choke Naomi to death, Rouge wakes up and gives her an elbow crush. Opera attacks again, but Rouge easily dodges it and gives him a force punch. Then Opera summons a bunch of cylinder heads, and this is when Rouge transforms and beats one of them. But of course, this is not enough, and they get surrounded. Fortunately, an unknown member of the Immortal Nine arrives and helps the duo by holding off the Carnival's forces, allowing them to escape the airship. The Carnival's ship takes off to its next destination, with Opera reporting about Phantom Verd's core being stolen, but the puppeteer notes that this was fated to happen. The puppeteer is confident that he and Rouge will meet again. Afterward, Rouge and Naomi finally make up for their earlier fight, while the Immortal Nine member, revealed to be Eden, watches them from afar. Meanwhile, Jean meets his superior, Chief Chow, who is aware of the unauthorized mission to kill the Immortal Nine, but turns a blind eye and warns him of a bureau spy within the ministry. With the job on Mars done, Rouge and Naomi board a ship back to Earth, taking the opportunity to relax and befriend their cabin neighbors, twins Ace and Alice. Also on board the ship is Ash, and he is not pleased his mission ended so quickly and he is being recalled back to headquarters. Suddenly, a murder happens right before his eyes. Although the culprit is apprehended, he claims he was at the casino all day, and there is footage proof. How can one person be in two different places? Then another murder happens, but this time the witness claims the killer looks exactly like her friend. However, she finds the killer had a really nasty smile. The captain announced that all passengers have orders to remain in their rooms for their safety. Meanwhile, Naomi and Rouge don't want to be cooped up, but soon Ash sees Naomi to arrest her. Well, there is footage showing she killed someone. Of course Ash knows she isn't the killer, and he just arrested her for her safety. Rouge gets separated from Naomi for a while and goes back to their room. While waiting, the mechanical bird of Naomi appears from her backpack. Naomi believes that Jylin was the one who committed the murder. However, Naomi doesn't want to do anything since they have orders to not stand out or cause a scene. Rouge doesn't like that idea since she doesn't like how Naomi is receiving accusations for something she didn't do. Noid calls Ash to show a live footage camera that looks like Naomi is going to kill a sleeping senior citizen. Naomi, witnessing this, burst out of the room and ran. She reported this to Rouge that someone disguised as her at the library. The two meet up at the library and check on the old lady. Upon checking her, she is still alive and not harmed. Meanwhile, Ash was exhausted from running, and Noid runs up to him and says there's another murder. However, Ash notices the nasty smile and draws his gun, but Noid is fast and stabbed him. Rouge and Naomi arrive at the scene, and the killer transforms into Rouge and runs. Naomi asks for help for Ash. Then Ash frees Naomi to go after the culprit, and she steals his gun too. Naomi caught up with the two Rouges fighting at the top of the swimming pool. Naomi then asks them a math question. Without any hesitation, she shoots who answers the correct one, falling into the pool. However, the fake Rouge kicked Naomi and Rouge into the pool, then escaped. Naomi takes charge of the investigation and deduces that since Jylin cannot alter his weight, so they round up everyone on the ship with that weight. Rouge will then punch them one by one because she knows that Jylin can stand with her punch. Then he punched a man, and they were all shocked by the force of the punch. Rouge continued to punch one by one until she landed on the big dog. However, the dog is not safe from Rouge and kicks it. But then the dog turns out to be Jylin. After being discovered, Rouge and Jylin both transform into their combat forms. Then Jylin cut a big hole, and a fight ensues outside the ship during which he reveals that he killed her creator, Roy Younghart. Both of them fight intensely, and no one is backing out. However, Rouge managed to avoid the attack, and while she managed to chop off Jylin's legs before she threw him off the ship, he appears to burn up in Earth's atmosphere. Unbeknownst to Rouge, however, Ash learns of her true identity after witnessing her transform. Later, Rouge reunites with Naomi, but the latter places her under arrest, revealing she is the Bureau spy. That's all for now. If you want more, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part.